Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thanks for making us a part of your Wednesday. How's it going on? How's it going over there, Ben?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Better than Bill Belichick.
It's been a busy sports 24 hours since we last talked.
Yeah, there's kind of been a lot that's going on. Yeah, Bill's journey is turned interesting, but far from the most relevant thing today.
Sure.
We're going to talk about, I'm excited for our draft.
Okay.
I think we're going to have one of our better drafts. And we've only really decided the sports one.
Yeah, we got to do the non-sports one.
We'll come up with something. But our sports one is going to be good. And it's inspired by last night's events.
Recent events, yeah.
Recent events. Like Law and Order, Ben. That's where our best stuff comes from.
Ripped from the headlines.
Isn't Law and Order back?
The original?
Yeah. Is that right, Hatch?
They've rebooted it again, yeah.
Oh, good.
And SVU's still around.
SVU, never left.
Yeah.
I did not get into SVU. I didn't
Agreed.
like I guess none of the crimes in Law and Order, but the crimes in SVU just...
Agreed. They were even more cruel.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
And Lenny Briscoe wasn't in SVU.
Agreed.
And he was the number one reason to watch.
Yeah, the Hargitay, what's the guy's name? Just never did it for me.
That
duo.
The guy from Oz?
Yeah, never did it for me.
That show? Did you ever watch that show?
I haven't.
Yeah. That guy's in it. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Hatch, your favorite Law and Order is what?
It's the OG.
The original?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. SVU is just too much. For me, I know why other people latch onto it. If you're a true crime junkie, that's more, I think, up your alley.
Who was your favorite prosecutor?
Oh,
Are you a Ben Stone guy, or did you like Jack McCoy?
probably McCoy.
Yeah, of course. It's the original. It's actually not the original, right?
Ben Stone was
Yeah, Ben Stone's
was the original.
real OG.
But it's back.
Yeah, and they've rebooted it, and they take from the storylines very recently, and they'll create a whole episode around it.
I liked when Fred Thompson was the DA.
Uh-huh.
That was really good. The original.
I'll tell you that Dick Wolf had one idea, and he really ran with it, didn't he?
It's great. It works. It's a procedural. I mean, we love procedurals, so go back to it.
Okay, I got one thing.
Okay.
And we're just going to keep going. There's a bit in Arrested Development about that, where he's the what is it, retirement community Job is designing, and he has one idea.
Gets him fired.
Keeps going back to the one idea over and over again.
Yeah.
Hey, Dick Wolf is like a zillionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really worked for him.
Yep.
I don't see Tom Clancy writing about I don't know, modern art. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Right. Michael Crichton. I mean, he does more than dinosaurs, but stick to your strengths. He was able to do it.
Yeah, but he's like, okay, I've got this Law and Order thing.
Yeah.
We'll have half the episode be about the cops, and then the
Shifting
second
it
half
over.
will be about prosecuting the crime.
Yeah.
And then
To the minute.
35 years later,
Yep.
how many renditions? We can move off this, but Law and Order: Criminal Intent wasn't that? I couldn't get in. That was with the guy from that Stanley Kubrick movie.
Well, then there was the organized crime one that they spun off too.
I never saw that one.
I never saw that one. I just remember seeing that. Yeah, they've spun it off multiple iterations.
Special Victims Unit, Criminal Intent, Trial by Jury, L.A., True Crime, and Organized Crime. So, yeah, it just keeps spinning it off.
Wait, I'm not even joking about that. Help me remember that movie. About Vietnam, Kubrick.
Yeah.
That guy. What's that movie called? Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't care about the actor. I was just...
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Is that his name?
He's only in the first half of the movie.
That movie
He doesn't make it to war.
is honestly bad for that reason. It's like two movies that they merged
completely two different movies
into one.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one isn't particularly good. Because the drill sergeant is obviously the best character in that whole
Boot
movie.
Camp is more captivating than the war.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Very strange. But, so was Stanley Kubrick.
Correct.
Kubrick. All right. Ben, let's talk a little playoff basketball, shall we? As the Pacers move on in dramatic fashion in overtime, which I think is kind of the lead. The Nuggets got a critical win over the Clippers. We can start there if you'd rather. But,
You don't want to talk about the hockey name or the arena?
Oh, we can get into that.
It's fine. It's the Mammoth. I mean, the name leaked last night. It's a huge deal.
But they've walked that back.
They have walked it back, but you don't accidentally rename your YouTube channel the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, if you move off a handle, that can be very easily snapped up by somebody else. So to do that meant that they were making moves.
It's a gaffe. Clearly, it's a huge mistake. I would suspect it probably happened on the YouTube side and not the SEG side, where they had said, hey, we are claiming this title. We're claiming this, handle. This is what it's going to be going forward. And somebody said, great, April 30th, midnight Eastern, we're turning it over. And I don't know when they were planning to announce this. I think the hard part, as we have learned about this whole process, it's really hard to keep under wraps. Whether it was the person who went in with Google glasses and took photos of the Outlaws, the hockey club, and the Mammoth and leaked those, the names that have come out, the trademark law that they've gone through and tried to trademark all these names, trying to get social media handles throughout, and now, of course, going to YouTube. It's just really difficult to do in today's modern world. And actually, if there's a way to do it, I would rather see it this way than some kid who works at Lids or the Fan Store or whatever who's like, I opened a box and there was a logo on top and I tweeted out the photo, because that seems to happen all the time. Or it leaks in a video game, which we've seen a lot.
I see. It's been Mammoth forever.
It has, right?
Call me when there's a press conference. I honestly, I don't care. I've said forever. I don't care if this has proven anything, is that you can't do that. So they want to protect that press conference so badly that they create almost like a caper for everybody to solve, which I find silly. That people are monitoring the YouTube, but we got to find this out. I find all of that extremely silly.
There's not a radio show in the country that talks about the Streisand effect more than us.
Right.
But when you make it the whole thing that it's going to be secret, you're going to have sleuths all over. And by the way, while our own Cole Bagley had a tweet that has since gone super viral last night, he was not the person who saw it first. Cole saw somebody else tweet it, and Cole went to the page and it was still there. And he shared the screenshots as well. So, I mean, it was out. There are just too many people poring over it at all times for it to not be something that leaks.
So, yeah. And by the way, before the leak, what did the leak really get you? I mean, I'm not even talking about people in the biz. I talk to people around town, like at my kids' daycare, and they're like, well, it's going to be Mammoth, I heard from my neighbor's cousin. And all that. Whatever. The votes I thought was silly. I thought all of this is silly. Just name the team. Pick a name.
I'm with you.
And go for it.
I'm with you.
I even thought, and I do like the Utah Hockey Club, by the way, that name. Uh-huh. And I certainly love the color scheme. Absolute home run, in my opinion, which obviously doesn't matter. But I didn't really think you needed to put a placeholder name in. Just name the dang team. The fact that this has been stringing on for over a year now. Yeah. And we're monitoring YouTube pages and stuff like that. Just call me when the press conference is. And we'll get the show down there and we'll give it some coverage and we can all just move on with our lives.
I am with you. I understand that there were actual time limitations that prevented them from being able to do this. And, when you didn't have an ability to create a logo, create an entire team name, figure out what was going to work, and then certainly what they thought was going to be, and the Yeti fell apart underneath their feet, that they've been in a little bit of a scramble mode. I'm sure it has felt like that at times for the people over there on the hockey side. I have real appreciation for things don't always work out the way you expect them to, and you have to pivot and move. I am with you. Had it been me, I would have sat down in a boardroom, said, here are the names, what are we picking? And we're picking it there, and it's not getting further out. Now, I also understand that the guy who owns the team has made billions of dollars by asking people their opinions, by making a very democratic process, and he trusts it. And he goes to it over and over. Mm-hmm. But it has made him billions of dollars.
I get it.
Yeah, look, I sold a VCR once for $30. I look for VCRs every time I walk into a store now with the hopes of making another $30. I get it. I get that drug. That it works for you. So you're going to keep going back to it. But yes, I'm with you. I would have just picked the name.
There has been no more litigated team name in this market than the minor league baseball team.
Uh-huh.
It was the Buzz.
Quite literally litigated. Yeah.
They got sued.
Yeah.
And then it was the Stingers.
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked.
Uh-huh.
But I went to a press conference one day, Ben, and the great Larry H. Miller was announcing that he had purchased the Stingers. And I still remember the press conference to this day. And you know what Larry did? Like the first thing Larry did after saying, "Thank you all for coming," he changed the name to the Bees. And then he was wearing a Bees uniform. So on the day that he announced that he was buying the team, he changed the name, announced the change, had the logo, had the dang uniform. So it doesn't have to be like this. And yes, Ryan Smith and SEG, and they're fine. They can do whatever they want.
Of course.
And he's got $1 zillion, so he's obviously way smarter than me. But it doesn't mean that I have to place my life on hold for an entire year while they try to figure out what their logo and branding and all of that is going to be.
And to be fair, nobody has asked you to do that. Nobody has asked that of you. I will say, though, this has been the big story for the fans. Fans love two things. They love uniforms. They love logos. They love team names. That's it. That's what draws the most traffic. Cole has done an absolutely awesome job writing about the hockey club, breaking down all the players, breaking down every single game, goes to the games, does all the dirty work, does all the interviews. I haven't looked at it. I promise you his two biggest stories this year are logo stuff. I promise you.
I understand.
I promise you. It is what matters. It is what resonates with people.
They have to make it cool. They could name the team anything. There's no particular cool fact. What's the cool factor of the name Mammoth? You have to run with it. It's what you do with it. It's not, what's that stupid mascot in Philadelphia?
The Flyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Bingo. He was born. Do you remember how that was born? The idea was we're going to put the stupidest thing as our mascot. The stupidest thing that we can come up with. It's on purpose going to be stupid and ugly.
And it worked.
Everybody loves the
Everybody
stupid
loves
thing.
the Flyer, yeah.
And isn't its attitude like that it treats people bad too?
Yeah,
Isn't that
he's a bozo.
Isn't that his character?
Yeah.
Like we're going to make a stupid, ugly thing that treats people badly.
He's a goofball.
That's your mascot?
Yeah.
You mean the mascot that's supposed to walk around and take pictures with people and be nice to kids? You're going to make an ugly thing that kids are scared of?
Gritty. His name's Gritty.
That treats people badly? Uh-huh. It's what you do with it. So, yes, I understand that people are curious. And, yes, I understand that people like logos and uniforms. If they didn't, we wouldn't do it.
Right.
I understand that. But if you're talking about the import of something, it's what you do with that something. It's not the actual something itself. You could name the team the Dream Coach.
Sure.
If you make it cool, it will be cool.
Correct.
The Flyers created the stupidest mascot on purpose possible that treats people bad.
Yeah.
And they made it cool.
Right. People love Cosmo. Not because he's got a little cougar costume on.
That's a sharp-looking costume.
Right.
No.
It's because he lifts tables and does backflips and does whatever.
Jumping through fire and then doing some dance that goes viral.
Correct.
I mean, like...
Right.
It's what you do with it. It's not the it. It's not the nickname Cougars.
Right.
The reason that Cosmo is cool.
I agree with you. With that said, I will say I do think the Mammoth is a cool name. I like the Mammoth. I like that it has two meanings. I like that it's both has historical reference to our state where we once had woolly mammoths 10,000 years ago roaming our land. I think that's very cool. I also like the idea of the size aspect of it. I like that it has two meanings. I do think that's cool. I think that's creative. There are a few elephants in sports, right? The A's have an elephant. Alabama has an elephant. I think the New York Liberty have an elephant. Like that, there are a couple. There's none in the NBA. There's none in hockey. There's none in football other than Alabama, but none in the NFL. So I do like that it's a little bit fair game, I would say. And they'll do something fun with it. I think it's cool. I'm glad they went away from Bear, which I know Jazz Bear was not going to be the guy forever, but this is a totally different type of mascot. This allows it to be cartoony with a big head and a big fat belly and woolly and goofy. And I hope they lean into that a little bit. Well, but I do like the name.
There isn't a ground weasels in the in the
There's
NHL
not.
either. I never like the argument where it has to have some connection. No, it doesn't.
No,
in fact, the fact that the Jazz has no connection to Salt Lake actually makes that cool.
The Kraken, the Raptors. There are things that don't. We are much more set up to have a Raptors, hence the Ogden Raptors, than Toronto.
Right.
Yes. And yes, New Orleans has far more property rights of Jazz than does Utah.
So if these are the types of things that we're wasting our time on to make it take a year, then that's what's frustrating to me. And creating this, what I read an article about this, Ben. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. That old like millionaire that buried treasure somewhere in the western United States and like wrote a poem, and it inspired like a decades-long treasure hunt for people that people like actually died on. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like it's been that for a year.
Yeah.
Every other week there's, well, I found this under a rock in Wyoming. It might be the...
Yeah. Might be a hint.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe they do that on purpose.
I
don't know.
No.
Or has it just been a cluster?
I think I would bet, and I honestly have no knowledge of this, I would bet it's been a lot more of a cluster than they expected.
Well, okay. They wanted Yeti, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The cooler company said no. And so that's a setback. It's not like they lost an arm or something. You just move on to the next name.
Right. But I would bet, and from the things I have heard from people in the business, that they were pretty far down the road with Yeti and expected to, like, worst case scenario, and again, I may be wrong about this and I apologize if I am, but like, fine, you've got a jersey sponsor with Yeti. Like, they felt like there was pathways to work out the naming rights with Yeti to be able to get the name. Like, they had gotten that far down the road with it, with the expectation that would be the case. So...
No, Yeti, you know what I would laugh at if somebody came to me and said, hey, what about some sponsor opportunities and stuff like that? I would be like, wait a minute. You want money from us to use our name?
To steal our name.
So
right.
you want to steal our name.
Right.
And you want us to give you money. Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Think about that.
I get it. Advertising does work, obviously. But so I would imagine, because here's what you always have to realize. These sports franchises, and you know this, that by the time we hear about it, they're 3 to 6 months ahead of us on everything. You know what I mean? Player movement, names, arena changes, which we can talk about today as well. All of these major changes, they are so much further down the road than we are by the time it trickles out to the media or to the public, that I bet they were pretty set on this Yeti idea before it all fell apart. You know, that I bet they had mock-ups. I bet they had mascot ideas. I bet they had concepts of how to have the arena fit that mold. So for that rug to be pulled out from underneath you, I bet was very difficult. I would understand why that would be the case.
Yeah, thus I have the Bob Dylan quote on my Snap Talk. We're both due one too many mornings and 1,000 miles behind, Ben. Before we find out about it, yeah, they're all the way down the road. So if they're so far down the road, why did it take a year?
I would imagine there has been some quick shifting. Once the Yeti
Nothing
thing
about
fell
this
apart.
has been quick.
No.
Nothing.
Well,
nothing.
in light of how these things usually go, how the comparable, new designs have come for teams. Like the Kraken had what? 3 years, 2 years, right, to design theirs. Vegas had 2 years to design theirs, get it up and running, get the team in place. I would imagine everyone over there feels like they're drinking from a fire hose.
Well, I will say it over there, if they're freaking out about the YouTube thing, I would say, no, people think these launches are so important. The press conference, the launch, the whatever. It's not.
I'm with you.
It's not.
I'm with you. This is
So
nobody's head needs to roll.
No, it's not.
No.
Someone made a mistake or whatever. The launch is not that important. I've seen this firsthand in companies, where people get so focused on, we've got to release this. This has to be us. That people almost got, in one particular circumstance, this close to getting fired because they let the cat out of the bag on something.
And it's usually benign.
It's way benign.
Yeah.
The event, the launch, isn't that important.
Right.
There's a reason tech companies do soft launches all the time because the actual introduction doesn't really matter that much. You got to get it right, not necessarily make a splash.
Nobody died. Nobody got hurt. I get it. You didn't maybe get the big explosion. Who could have expected it would have been the Mammoth? Again, as you've said, we've known it's going to be the Mammoth
Forever.
for a while.
Since
Yeti fell apart.
Since Carl Yeti sued him.
Right. Since Yeti fell apart, Mammoth immediately jumped to the top of the list.
Carl and his wife Betsy, they're quite protective of their IP.
So,
like Walt Disney, you don't sell that mouse. You know what I mean?
right. Though he is public domain now.
Well, that's good for us. Let's start making cartoons, Ben.
They should have named him Utah Mouse. Just put
Mickey
on the front of
Mickey.
there.
And just put that would have been it. How are we just thinking about this now?
Disney would get tied in. You could bring on ESPN.
I always wondered how Oregon could just use Donald.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, they must have changed something on the beak or
Enough,
something,
yeah.
How they could just get away with using Donald.
They actually had an agreement with Walt Disney.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Huh.
Want to remind you to nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact for the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. More next. Top 3 stories of the day at kslsports.com, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Utah Jazz select.
Do you believe in karma? Well, we here at the KSL Sports Zone absolutely believe in creating good vibes for the Utah Jazz in their hopes of securing the #1 pick in the NBA Draft Lottery. Go to KSLSports.com to donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. Wait, why $2? And isn't that the jersey number of...
Bob, it's just a random number, okay? Just stick to the copy.
It's a real two-for-one. Your donation will help Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital and help the Utah Jazz capture the Good Karma flag in their hopes of recouping winning basketball in Utah.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Donate your $2 right now at KSLSports.com.
Jacob Ben. Time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by our friends at J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. Can I ask you a personal question?
I'd love to have that aired on the radio.
What?
Whatever personal thing you're going to ask me.
No. Oh, I'm curious. And Hatch, you can tell me what you did. You're engaged.
Uh-huh.
You bought an engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
Are you also going to buy a wedding ring, or does the engagement ring count as the wedding ring?
Whatever ring I get after this one will not be as gaudy as this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the engagement ring is supposed to be the fancy one.
The fancy one, right?
The wedding ring.
So there'll be a band, I
It's
guess.
called the wedding band.
Yeah, I'll get the band.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hatch, so I got the engagement ring, and it was a custom build in a way. Then I had a band made to match it for when we got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to do that because this one I'm not seeing a ring like the one I bought. So I'd have to get something made to match it.
Our friends at J. Brooks Jewelers can do just that.
That's our
No,
friend.
I was so poor when we got married. And I was like, no, I bought you a big diamond. That counts.
Yeah.
Just take it off, give it to me, and when we get married, I'll put it back on.
It seems to be almost a 50-50 split on who does what, Jake. Does that make sense? Megan, my wife, wanted the wedding band, so therefore that was happening.
I got my wife a band 5 years later for our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, that's nice.
But the wedding at the time, it was like, no, we got a ring.
My fiance really wants to know how much I spent on the ring. It's like the big question. It's like the thing in our relationship.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you hiding?
Just tell us off the air and we'll
Are
hold
you
it over
hiding
you.
it from her?
Yeah,
Why?
because I can.
Well, that's silly because you should probably get it insured. And to do that,
I have to get insured in her name.
I suppose.
Yeah, I can get privately insured. Or I didn't spend enough to be worth insuring. Or it's so expensive it's uninsurable.
Cubic zirconium over here.
I'm guessing it's not so expensive. It's uninsurable.
Knowing what we do for work, Ben, I would have a high.
It's not the Hope Diamond. You know what I mean? So that would one or the other. I don't know. Would she be mad if it was fake?
It's not fake. I took it to my guy.
Why are you winking right now? We have cameras, Ben.
It's real.
All right. Let's get into this.
She watches too.
What's number one?
All right, number one, two teams have moved on in the NBA playoffs.
Man, what a disaster for the Bucks. They had a great performance, had a chance to win it in regulation. Gary Trent Jr. was awesome all game, and then really awesome in overtime. Hit, what did he score, 12 straight points on 4 straight threes, and they were up 7 points with 40 seconds to go. The game is over. Au contraire, says both Gary Trent and the Indiana Pacers. They give up a series of threes. Gary Trent has 2 atrocious turnovers, one of them including a Bill Buckner caught it in his hands and then dropped the ball out of bounds between his legs. And the Pacers get the game-winning basket with just over a second left. Definitely ending the Bucks season. And now the entire question was what happens with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he had an ugly exit from the floor as well.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton's dad.
John?
Old John going a little too far?
If you missed it, which I don't know how, John Halliburton carrying looks like a jersey of it's not his son's jersey, but it's a jersey that has Tyrese's face on it. And John Halliburton is one of those dads who's just around the NBA all the time. You know, like T. Morant, he's always at the games and he's loud and he's, really proud of his son. But goes out there and is waving this jersey in Giannis's face, and Giannis is looking at it the way like a lion looks at a human in the wild and is like, oh, do I destroy this thing? Do I just kill this person? Like, you're in my territory. I kind of have carte blanche to do whatever I want, I think. And Giannis, who is unbelievable as a person and is one of the coolest people the NBA has ever had.
Seems very well adjusted, yeah.
Shows some real restraint. Now, they went face-to-face, but I've seen Giannis in person. I've been in the same locker room as Giannis. We talk about LeBron having the best body in the NBA. It's Giannis. Giannis is 7'1". His shoulders are as wide as a doorway. He's all muscle. He could flatten a person, especially a 50-year-old person like John Halliburton. The fact that he showed any restraint is a real godsend for John Halliburton, because that man would be in the hospital today.
You know what it really reminded me of, Ben? And I'm gonna salvage a court storming take for you out of this whole thing. Yeah. It really reminded me of when Suspenders Boy was yelling at Bronco. And I was standing right there. And Bronco's trying to walk up. I think he was trying to walk up to shake Kyle Whittingham's hand because he was walking away from the locker room. So
they'd already shake.
Was it?
Yeah, and you
anyway,
and PK were towards where the south end zone complex used to be. Bronco's headed towards the locker room.
So Suspenders Boy is just in Bronco's business for like 20 yards, like walking parallel with him. And Bronco just decided, he's like, you know what? I'll throw my career away today.
I've got time.
I'm going to feed this young man his own backside.
Yeah.
And he stops, pivots, and takes a step. And I'll tell you what, Suspenders Boy bounced, and that was probably
great Bronco decision.
A really good idea. Yeah, that didn't go.
But remember, it was fake news that you guys reported said.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. People told us like, no, that didn't happen. That next day, and they're like, that didn't happen. I was like, yeah, it did.
And then the video comes out, and it's like, oh
yeah, sure did. But it reminded me of that because listen. If you're a family member of a player, you should not be allowed on the court like any other fan.
Agreed.
You are not privileged to be on the floor. That is their space. I think you made a terrific point. That is where they work.
Yep.
And I realize that you can't just have players and coaches on the floor. There are people that are actually working that are required to be on the floor, but they're not waving jerseys in Giannis's face because you know what they're doing? Working. They have a role and a job and to work and are not running around acting like idiots. So I don't care if you are the entitled father of the superstar. Get your backside in the stands and stay there.
And you know what? If I'm the NBA, I'm banning him for the rest of the playoffs.
Oh,
I'm making an example out of him.
Well, what did they do to that guy who at Delta Center who yelled at Rusty? Did they ban him for life?
Yeah, banned for life.
Yeah, I don't care if you are a dad.
Yeah.
You just tried to throw down. Well, I guess not throw down, but you
got into the face of a player.
You confronted a player.
Yeah. Right. And by the way, okay, maybe John Halliburton's not the most intimidating person in the world. You know who is? Nikola Jokic's brothers. Like,
right. What kind of precedent are you setting?
If you allow family members to come onto the floor It could actually get very bad.
And confront players.
Right.
Then those guys could be a problem.
Yes. So he's certainly not on the floor.
So
ever again.
listen, fans, parents, if you're not working, you don't belong on the field. I don't care if it's court storming. I don't care whatever. Stay where you belong.
Orlando Magic also eliminated, but the Pistons won on the road for the second time in this series.
Way to go, Detroit.
And sent it back to Detroit with a chance to even it up at 3-3. Bad news for New York. They don't want the series to last long as they get ready to match up with the Celtics.
And then the Clippers obviously just don't like winning.
They don't like taking advantage of opportunities.
They do not like winning basketball games, obviously. Or they're like the South Park Little League episode where they're trying to lose to not advance.
I thought the Clippers were going to win this series. Now you're telling me that Nikola Jokic, the greatest player on the planet, has 2 chances to win one game. I think the Nuggets are going to advance. We'll see. We'll see.
Way to go, Clippers.
Cursed.
Next.
Delta Center renovations well underway with new plans announced today.
So we had been wondering how exactly they are going to fit the hockey rink, the ice, get the ice in there while also still having the basketball court. I've never seen this before. I watched the 6-minute video today. We've got it up at KSLSports.com. They have a whole hydraulic, essentially elevator system that I thought was going to lift and lower the floor. No, it lifts and lowers the seats, which makes way more sense.
Riser system, where the seats the floor's going up 2 feet.
Right, period.
But this riser system will adjust to whether it's ice or the court.
That is so cool.
It is so cool. I'm with you.
Engineers, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a son of an engineer, but engineers
You're a son of a something.
Are just brilliant. I mean,
son of a gun.
Brilliant problem solvers. You know what I mean?
Sorry to your mother.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I would hire an engineer to run my basketball team.
Okay.
Like, engineers are just, okay, here's a problem. We got an old building that wasn't built for hockey. We've got, sight line issues and all this stuff, but everybody's bent on staying here and staying in this building, so what are we going to do? And some smart engineers like, get some hydraulics, get the seats moving around, no problem. And if you have a nice budget and can do those sorts of things, I mean, I just marvel at it. I haven't been to the Intuit Dome yet, but I've heard there's a ton of really cool things where when people see a problem, think outside the box a little bit. It's amazing what really smart humans come up with.
So because the ice is so much bigger, it's almost twice the size of a basketball court, you have to have much steeper seats. So for hockey games, that lower bowl is going to be steep, really steep. Basketball, it sounds like it's going to mellow out a little bit. It's certainly going to be far more mellow than the hockey setup, but they're going to be 19,000 seats for basketball, 17,000 seats for hockey. I imagine basketball will be a little bit flatter now than maybe it is today. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting looking at the video, which I don't like flat arenas. I've been to crypto. It's way too flat. It's where I saw the Jazz play the Clippers. It takes you out of the game a little bit. I don't think the bones of Delta Center will allow you to be that flat. So I'm excited to see it. And I think this is something that you're going to start seeing every stadium do that gets renovated. If they pull it off, and I would fully suspect they pull it off, but this is going to be, this is going to be a shining light that other owners and arena builders look at as how you incorporate multi-sports into one stadium.
Cool.
It's very cool.
All right. What's next?
Number 3, Jaren Hall waived by the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, this was interesting. We talked a lot about Jackson Dart getting drafted over Shedeur. I know a lot of names got drafted over Shedeur, but the surprise, and it started about a week before the draft, was that Jalen Milroe was invited to the green room, right? And everyone was like, well, he's not a first-round pick at all. And he was fun to watch at Alabama. Man, he was all over the place. But a freak athlete, the Seahawks draft him, and clearly feel like he's got a chance to be a backup that they're happier to bet on than Jaren Hall.
Yeah, Jaren Hall is just... We talked about undrafted free agents and stuff like that yesterday, and it's just a battle. I mean, it's just a battle to make a roster, to get a look, all these things. And I actually think Jaren Hall deserves a ton of credit for battling this long. And now he does have some experience from his rookie year in Minnesota, right? So I would say the likelihood of him latching on somewhere else and maybe getting another bite at the apple is probably pretty high, although him getting cut this early probably isn't a good sign.
This is year 3 for him, right? This will be his 3rd year in the NFL. So, yeah, we'll see. You've been around a little bit.
So we'll see.
He'll certainly get invited. Certainly get invited to opportunity to compete for a job. And yeah, like we said, go make a practice squad. Make whatever it is, $6,000 a week or whatever, and then get called up.
I'll tell you, there's one team that will not sign him. The Cleveland Browns.
Too many QBs?
They already have 15 quarterbacks.
Maybe that's the opposite. Maybe they just want 7 quarterbacks, 8 quarterbacks.
They're going to have them play other positions. They're going to have so many.
Why not?
Like you're a quarterback / center.
I am curious if Milroe works out. Oh, was he a third rounder? 92nd pick. Okay, so yeah, third rounder.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben, do you believe in karma? Log on to KSLSports.com to help raise money for a great cause and create some good vibes for the Jazz and the NBA Draft Lottery. It's the KSL Sports 2-for-1. Donate at least $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital in hopes of the Jazz recouping winning basketball here in Utah. Go to KSLSports.com and donate your $2 today. All right, we've got What You Got Wednesday coming up at 11:30, and I think we've got today's topics
sorted out.
Pretty sorted.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if we're going to be able to come up with 10 of
one of them,
the non-sports one.
Living or dead?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we should include dead or we're not getting to 10.
I think so, too. It's going to be really hard to get to 10 because we live in a polarized world.
We sure do. We sure do, Ben.
Speaking of polarized, quite the debate on social media last night. I'm curious where you fall on it. Did you see the men versus gorilla conversation?
I did.
So the conversation is 100 men versus one silverback gorilla. Who's winning? Do you have an opinion?
I've seen the breakdown, so I don't really.
Well, there's no right answer. I feel like I have strong faith. I'll say I'm on the side of men. I think 100 men will outlast.
Unarmed men.
Unarmed, yeah. No weapons, no tools. I'm assuming you're in a just big, empty room. You know, so the gorilla's not attacking you from trees or anything like that. I think I'm siding with men.
I probably would not. I mean, honestly, if you look at the strength of the gorilla and all that sort of thing. The only way that man would win is if the attack were so coordinated and executed so perfectly that they could overcome. But the odds of that happening are low, and the casualty rate would probably be really high.
Unquestionably, we're not getting out of there unscathed. We're losing a lot of bodies.
I would say the first 30, 40, 50 individuals,
that's the
absolutely
thing.
Wrecked.
Agreed. It's a war of attrition, which, by the way, that's how the North won the Civil War. Like, we've done this before.
But if it's an attrition thing, man loses.
I don't know if that's the case.
It's got to be one single coordinated,
I don't think it
sharply executed attack. It can't be piecemeal.
We're sacrificing the first 25 guys. They're wearing the monkey out.
It's a gorilla. They're not wearing anything out.
Gorillas don't have perfect stamina. Like, they're going to last a little while. But it's like cheetahs. People, they run 60 miles an hour. It's like, yeah, they run 60 miles an hour for 2 seconds, right? And then they're exhausted and they lay around for the rest of the day. It's like they're not built for stamina. So, yeah, we're sacrificing 25 dudes just to cut his stamina in 3/4. And then the next 25 dudes really drain him. The real question is, how many do you need to finish him off? Because that's actually how many you can afford to lose, right? If you get an exhausted gorilla, but you're down to one man left, the gorilla's going to win. So how many people does it take to finish the gorilla? Is it 25? Because then the real question is one gorilla versus 75 men. Not 1 versus 100. But I think the humans are going to do it. I think the humans would figure it out. And yeah, we're
This is so dumb because I disagree with your entire concept.
We are great at coordinating attacks. Like, that's what humans have done well forever. So I think we would get there. And this isn't, humans are scared. It's like, no, you're fighting for the survival of a species or whatever. This is not people are like, oh, well, I'm going to go drive my Corolla back to my cushy apartment or whatever. It's like, no, this is it. This is all you have left. 100 men versus a gorilla. I think the men are doing it. Anyways, it was a big talking point. I was curious where you landed. I'm glad it made it to you. I know you're a little anti-social media, so I'm glad it got to you.
I saw it like 2 days ago. What do you mean
was it
happened
okay?
Like last night?
Well,
I am out of touch.
Everywhere on TikTok now. It's like every video is people debating this.
Well, I'm not on that.
Right, exactly. So I
is.
wondered if maybe you wouldn't have been able to see it. So, all right.
Actually heard people talking about it on a podcast I listened to yesterday that was recorded the day before.
Oh, okay.
So it's been out there for a minute. I hear and I haven't seen it, but I hear the AI.
That doesn't know anything. They don't know what's going on.
I saw one model put together that the gorilla ran roughshod in.
Yeah, I just don't believe it.
But the model they put up essentially had every man for himself.
Yeah, right.
Kind of what you're
It's not what we're doing.
The antithesis of what you're talking about, where you've got a block of individuals working in concert.
Yeah.
We'll have more engaging things coming up next.
I think this is the most engaging thing. It's why it's all over social media. People want to know.
More Jake. There's all sorts of stuff all over social media that nobody wants to know.
But
so
people
don't
want
use
to debate
that
this.
as an argument.
Weigh in at Ben's Hoops.
More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.